In 1980, the NFL's passing game was in high gear, but there was some awesome running on display too. Stand up and shout if you want exciting highlights, statistics, and stories of the 1980 All-Pro offensive team. Earl Campbell won the 1977 Heisman Trophy while at the University of Texas, finished second in the NFL MVP vote at the end of his rookie year, won it in 1979, and finished second again in 1980, which was his third straight first-team All-Pro season, as well as his third straight NFL rushing title. Campbell had a year for the ages in 1980. When Walter Payton stepped onto the playing field, you knew that he was going to give 100% effort on each and every play. Amazingly durable at only 5 foot 10.5 inches and around 200 pounds, he led the NFL in carries every season from 1976 through 1979. Vikings punt and kick returner Eddie Payton was his brother, and Walter was the nephew of running back Ricky Young, who also played with Eddie for the Vikings in 1980. Browns hadn't had a league MVP since Jim Brown in 1965, but they had another unlikely one in 1980, Brian Sipe. He was a 1972 13th round draft pick from San Diego State University, spent the 1972 and 1973 seasons on the Browns' taxi squad, and finally secured the full-time starting quarterback position in 1976. In 1979, he had the rare distinction of leading the NFL in both passing touchdowns and interceptions, 28 and 26 respectively. Sipe was second in the NFL in the following categories: passes attempted, passes completed, passing yards with 4,132, and passing touchdowns with 30. Those stats were very good, but it was his 4 game-winning drives which led the NFL, his 91.4 passer rating which led the league, and directing the Browns to an 11-win, 5-loss record, which was good enough to finally dethrone the Steelers from the top spot in the AFC Central Division, which capped off his MVP season. Tight end Kellen Winslow spent time on the injured reserved list with a broken leg from October 19th through the remainder of his 1979 rookie season. At 6'5", 252 pounds, he was an impressive target, and quarterback Dan Fouts connected with him often. Wide receiver John Jefferson had an incredible 1980 season when he snared 82 passes, third best in the league, good for 1,340 yards and 13 touchdowns, number 1 in the NFL in both categories. He became the first receiver to gain 1,000 or more receiving yards in each of his first 3 seasons. On October 15, 1978, he was poked in the eye by Miami Dolphins and he missed 2 games. When he returned to action, he sported prescription goggles for protection. For my money, Jefferson had the most incredible catches in NFL history. Here are but a few from his splendid 1980 season. Like John Jefferson, James Lofton was a rookie in 1978. The two would become teammates with the Packers in 1981, and they'd both make the Pro Bowl as Packers in 1982, a rarity. John Hannah made 9 Pro Bowl teams, but he didn't make it in 1977 when he and fellow offensive lineman Leon Gray held out for 2 games. Even though he wasn't voted to the Pro Bowl, strangely his colleagues in the NFL Players Association voted Hannah their first annual award as Offensive Lineman of the Year. Go figure. All game footage is taken from the 1980 season. Let's get back at it. Guard John Hannah was as good as it gets. By 1980, he'd made 5 straight first or second team All-Pro designations and added 5 more such years. In 1981, Sports Illustrated named him as the best offensive lineman of all time. He was the key to the Patriots' 1978 offensive line that finished first in the NFL in the following categories: rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and average yards per carry. Pro football was in John's family bloodlines. His dad, Herb, was an offensive tackle for the 1951 Giants, and brother Charlie played both defensive end and offensive tackle for the Buccaneers and guard for the Raiders during his 12-year career. John Hannah is ranked as the 3rd best guard of all time by ProFootballReference.com. Bruce Matthews is number 1, followed by Randall McDaniel. Joe DeLamielleur's first year with the Browns was 1980. He had started every one of the Bills' 102 regular season games from his 1973 rookie year through 1979, when he was traded on September 1st, 1980, for a 1981 second-round draft pick and a 1982 third-round draft pick. Joe made his 6th straight first or second-team All-Pro designation in 1980. Who's this? Mike Webster? Nope, it's just the Steelers' power sweeper dude. This is Mike Webster, manhandling number 78, David Logan, the man nicknamed Sasquatch. Webster performed brilliantly on this play. Center Mike Webster didn't play much in the Steelers' first 2 Super Bowl winning seasons because number 56, grizzled veteran Ray Mansfield, admirably held down the center position. But that would soon change when Webster's affinity for weightlifting, which was supplemented with steroids, propelled him to greatness. He anchored the Steelers' offensive line that was a key to 2 more Super Bowl championships. In 1980, he had his 3rd consecutive first-team All-Pro designation. He's rated as the 3rd best center all-time by ProFootballReference.com. Fellow Steeler Dermontti Dawson is number 1, and Jim Otto is number 2. At one of the tackles is Big Mike Ken. Only 220 pounds when he entered the University of Michigan, he beefed up to 286 pounds later in his stellar 17-year NFL career. His 251 career starts is tied for 13th most all-time. In 1980, he played on every down. No big deal. He did the same thing in 1979 and would do it again in 1981. From November 25th, 1979 through October 18th, 1981, he had a 26 consecutive game penalty-free streak. Amazing! And as the left tackle lined up against Sherman White, the 1972 second overall draft pick. He was 6'5", 250 pounds, and had 63 career sacks in his 12-year career, so he definitely was no slouch. Here he's matched up against a stunting number 72 Mel Lunsford, who was an 8-year veteran in this Week 2 game. Lunsford had 8 sacks in 1979. Hollis Francis scored the first of his 7 1980 touchdowns. He wasn't the only Falcons offensive player who had a good year in 1980. Quarterback Steve Bartkowski, running back William Andrews, wide receiver Alfred Jenkins, and tight end Junior Miller all made the Pro Bowl, as did center Jeff Van Note. Without terrific offensive line play, the skilled position players are afforded less opportunities to showcase their talents. So here's to the men in the pit that make the magic happen. Tackle Leon Gray made first-team All-Pro for the 3rd straight season in 1980. He was drafted by the Dolphins in the 1973 third round, was waived, then picked up by the Patriots, and started 8 games for them that season. By the end of the 1976 season, he had made his first Pro Bowl. New England's offensive linemen, guard John Hanna and tackle Leon Gray, were Pro Bowl players in 1976, and they insisted that the Patriots renegotiate their contracts for the 1977 season. When team owner Billy Sullivan refused, Hanna and Gray walked out on the team for 2 regular season games. Shaken by the 2-man strike, the Patriots were upset in Week 3 by a Jets team that finished with 3 wins against 11 losses, and in Week 2 to the Browns in overtime on a Monday Night Football telecast. The Patriots finished with a 9-win, 5-loss record in 3rd place in the AFC East Division and out of the playoffs.